What is up, guys? Today will be a very simple video on the Cream Z giveaway car. So we've been working on it a bunch, and now today is just kind of tying up the loose ends. We're gonna do a couple cool, fun, little more, I don't know, easy aesthetic mods. But before that, we're gonna tie up the loose ends of the new rear suspension. I gotta check the ride height, make sure it's good, and then we'll start doing a toe plate alignment in my garage so we can drive around and not be all over the place. Not ideal, but because the car is so low, it doesn't really like to go on and off of my lift. So I use these 4 wheels to kind of lower it down so I could check stuff and then bring it right back up so it's easy to adjust without having to take it on and off all the time. I'm curious to see how much the rear compresses with this new setup. Not too much. Oh, it actually looks pretty high in the back. I think I'm gonna have to go lower.
This side's way out of whack.
Oh, I know, I haven't really, well, this side's actually not too far off, but I can't really start aligning it until I get a proper ride height. One thing that I am kind of concerned about that Marco told me is that because we kind of did the conversion rather than getting the actual true coilovers, that we're gonna bottom out the shock body and we're not gonna be able to go as low as we want. So I have a feeling we're gonna end up swapping to their actual true coilover kit in the rear rather than the ones that I made, unfortunately. Because we need to go this low and I feel like the shock is already here, so. All right, so this is with the shock currently bottomed out. Let's see where it falls. Better. I still think I want it lower. I think I'm just gonna have to ride with it for now and then I'll probably switch that later next week. I just hate aligning things a million times. That's high.
Yeah.
That's high. That's a high car. Definitely isn't an ideal way to do it, but what I use is an iPhone level and then I kind of put it against a piece of wood. Oh, look at that. It seems like it doesn't have any camber right now, which is pretty dope. It helps give you an idea. You can get it pretty close by eye and then usually for the little bit left that you're trying to figure out, this will do the trick. This is telling me it's 0, but it's very important that you figure out the camber first before the toe, because when you adjust the camber on these cars, and probably most cars for that matter, it does affect the toe quite a bit. Ideally, I would do probably like positive a ½ degree of camber, so when the car squats on throttle, it would get a perfect tire contact patch. But that does give the car a lot more grip, and I don't know power-wise how it's gonna slide, so I'm just gonna leave it around 0 camber and understand that there'll be a little bit of camber wear, but it does make it a little bit easier to toss around since you have less grip. Toe-wise, I'm gonna try to do an 1/8 inch of toe in. So typically, like, you would just use the toe plates, but what you'll find is that you could have the proper toe setup, but the whole rear end of the car might be like kind of pointing to the side a little bit rather than straight. So what I'm doing before I get the toe plates out and start adjusting things, I'm gonna use a reference point. So I'll probably use the rear subframe to the wheel and try to make sure that both sides are close to the same once it looks like they have good toe. That way I know that the car is gonna go straight rather than kind of walking sideways. By the way, I don't know if this is the right way to do it. This is just kind of like a trial and error procedure that has been developed after many headaches, so I don't know. There's probably like articles online that tell you how to do this the right way, and I'm probably just making up stuff, but it works. I talk about this all the time, but if you aren't familiar with how toe plates work, essentially you have 2 plates like this that butt up against the wheel, and then you have measuring tape, and you want to basically try to get the numbers identical. That would be 0 toe, because the wheels would basically have the same distance in the front as they do in the back. We did an 1/8 inch of toe in, which is a good starting point. You can add a little more toe in, it'll give you a little bit more forward bite when you're in drift, or you could go to 0 and make the car a little bit easier to just kind of slide around. So, not the perfect alignment. Obviously, there's a lot of variance. It'd be nice to be able to roll it around in alignment, but for garage alignment, it'll get it enough so we're not gonna burn through tires just driving around town. Now we're gonna do one of the next fun things. So, the next thing is what's called a bumper tuck. Essentially, we'll be screwing this piece up to the crash bar and back, and it just kind of makes it look a little more aggressive, and then you don't have this cutout thing that looks all ugly, and it's very simple, but it'll make it look nice. This is where that KVD and that flex agent and that paint comes in handy, because as you can see, we got no cracks going on up here. So essentially what we did, I needed Matt's help so I couldn't have him film. I had him help hold it up, put a drill hole through it all, and then I grabbed some of these bigger screws with washers, and then kind of just like blast it right in. Look at that. Now we'll just do a couple more and it should be straight.
Boom. Looks so good.
Can't tell if I missed the hole or something. Look at that. I wonder if I'm supposed to put a cut here in the bumper to allow it to tuck up more. But I don't even know
We'll
if
just drill a hole right there.
What? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Oh, so it flexes in? Okay, I gotcha.
I'll see how much it flexes in without it. So we clearly have some issues going on with the paint adhering to the KBD poly. I was speaking to Randy about this because we had some issues in the past, and we honestly think that the mixture for the paint just isn't adhering the way that we want it to. So I think what I'm gonna end up doing, I'll drive around the car and we'll probably do most of the drift events with it is how it is now, but we're probably gonna go over the car and respray the kit just to make sure it's extra fresh for the person that wins it, because I don't wanna give you guys a kit where the paint's a little messed up and stuff, you know? But I know he prepped everything properly and it shouldn't just like come off like this. Mind you, this is only on the poly stuff. The paint on the rest of the car is fine. So definitely a bummer, but we're gonna make sure that it's perfect for whoever wins this car. I know it doesn't look the prettiest from here, but from up here, it looks pretty cool. It looks like I could still use maybe another 1 or 2 in this area, but I ran out of screws, so I gotta go pick some more up. You know, for a quick alignment in the garage, we are dead straight. The steering wheel, okay, the road's not straight, but the car drives dead straight, look at that. Sick. Originally the plan was to leave the stock wheel so I could keep the airbag in the car because, you know, if someone's driving around town, it's good to have an airbag. However, the airbag in the car either was deployed or doesn't work, as I've found out. So I figured it's a pretty good opportunity. We'll put a nice suede wheel in here. Obviously, whoever wins this is just gonna have to note that there is no airbag in the car. I mean, mind you, none of our cars have airbags either, and S13s are way more fragile than a 350Z. Even though the airbag isn't working or connected, it's still a good idea to unplug the battery to avoid, I don't know, messing with anything wiring electrical. 2 little bolts right in here. Now the airbag assembly should just come right out. Obviously try to keep the steering wheel straight so when you put the new hub on, you don't have to worry about it, but maybe this is just, oh, maybe an 18. Now we're gonna use the good old bash like a monkey trick. Usually it comes flying off in your face, but if you're smart, you leave the nut on so that way it'll be stopped. The hub will just slide right on. Try to line it up as best you can. Now I wasn't planning on using a quick release in this car because you don't really need them if you don't have crazy bucket seats. The main reason why people put quick releases in their car is not as a theft deterrent, it's just because when you have crazy bucket seats and a roll cage, it's very hard to get in and out of the car with the steering wheel because of your legs, especially if you're a taller person like me. I'm gonna be keeping this car with factory seats and factory seat belts. I don't want to get into that whole debate about driving around town with bucket seats without a roll cage or without a harness bar or with harnesses without a roll cage. It's a very touchy subject and I don't want to get on people's nerves. Stock seats and stock seat belts are safe. They're allowed at our local track, they're allowed at a lot of other local tracks. I'd rather the harness thing be the winner's decision if they want to do harnesses or aftermarket seats or whatever. The steering wheel sits way too close to everything without a quick release, so I'm gonna put one on anyway. It's nice to have the wheel a little bit closer to you. By the way, if you guys haven't seen this before, this is my collaboration wheel with Grip Royal. They've been sold out forever, so this is actually a mess up one. When we were first testing out the very first sizes of all the logos and stuff, this was the very first one we ever made, and the logo, as you can see, is a lot bigger than the other ones. I didn't really like it, so we ended up sizing the logos down, but this is the only wheel that I have, and I wanted to put one in this car. Conveniently enough, we actually did just receive word from Grip Royal that we'll be getting another batch sometime around mid-March. So if you want to order a wheel during this sweepstakes period, you can get those entries for a chance to win this car and the other prizes. You can go ahead and do that, and it kind of locks you down in one because last time we did a pre-order and they all sold out. So by the time they came in, they already were all ready to go out to the new owners. New steering wheel should make this car feel a lot nicer too. I put this shift knob in it too that I had. I like it. It's a nice wood shift knob. I saw a few comments on the other video asking if I would be including things like the stock wheels to the winner of the car. Yes, I'll be saving all the stock stuff, so if you want the stock steering wheel or the stock airbag or any of the stock stuff, I have no purpose of keeping it, so that's their call. Cream Team! How'd you enjoy driving the Z, Matt?
I liked it. I want one now, kinda-ish.
Dude, we got the Cream Z Dream Team right here. I'm amazed by how close the colors are. My car is looking pretty beat up now compared to the Z. It's looking a little too clean, I think. Yeah, look at that. Look at the Cream Dream right there. You know, even a little bit high in the back end, the Z still looks pretty good. Dang, look at the Cream Dream. The Cream Dream Team right here. All right, we gotta test the Z out, see how it feels with the extra angle and the new suspension. So I finally added a rack spacer to my car. Check out how crazy this angle looks. I think it, look at all that angle. Here, go drive in circles. Let's see how tight of a U-turn she can make. Oh, look at that. Look at that quality. Rob, you get the honors.
He's had the 240 for how long? I've never been inside of it.
But we're not gonna do the 240, we're gonna do the Z.
Exactly.
You're gonna be
now I'm going in the new one.
You're gonna be the first person to drift the new Z.
This is insane because it looks like the 240, but it's not.
Alright, let's go.
Can you tell how much I know about cars by that sentence?
The brake locks up, so I'm gonna kind of like try to e-brake initiate over here and just see how it feels.
All right. You can literally hear Rob. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Literally the entire time I was like, there's no way he's not gonna hit the fence or mat. And he hit neither. That was insane. I was like, it doesn't feel like you have control over it, but
Hey,
you did.
Rob, track day coming soon. It has to
I'm
come
on the
soon.
clock right now. I'm getting paid to drift. I'm a professional drifter. Yeah.
Dude,
Wow.
it feels so much faster in
Does
drift
it?
now. Like,
Why?
it felt like I just hopped in.
Well, the Ken does have a lot of grip.
The handbrake worked perfectly. Like,
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm very, very
We're
impressed.
drifting.
Like, this is a proper drift car now.
All right.
Wow.
All right, guys.
Yeah, win this.